We have a ton of stories to break down and unpack this Monday, my friends, so sit back, relax, and let me walk you through today's latest reports. I hope you guys enjoy. Hit that like button, let's get over 2k likes, and most importantly, share your thoughts and opinions. Without wasting any more time, let's start with a little bit of positive news, and it focuses around Christo Nkunku because it seems like Nkunku now is set to return against Liverpool this Wednesday. Now, he may not start the game, but he should feature in that game because Sky Sports report today that he has taken part in first team training, and for me, this makes me a very happy man. I really hope that in 2024, Nkunku can find his fitness because we need this guy. He's been a massive loss. And I always think to myself, if he never sustained that injury against Dortmund during pre-season, how many goals, how many assists could he have for us right now? And I feel like he has been that missing X-factor piece that this team desperately needs. So let's hope that we see him on Wednesday, and let's hope that he has a great game against Liverpool. And now let's discuss another interesting story, and it involves Championship wonderkid in Adam Wharton, who is currently playing for Blackburn. Now, this report came from The Sun, and they confirmed that we are showing strong interest in the midfield player from Blackburn. Recently, we learned that Crystal Palace had an £18.5 million bid turned down by Blackburn, who were hoping to earn over £25 million. Now, essentially, The Sun are saying this: Paul Winstanley first took notice of Wharton when we played against Blackburn in this year's Carabao Cup. He impressed him greatly, and actually last week, Winstanley personally watched him play a game of football. So it does seem like there is something behind this story. So on the screen, I'll be playing his performance against us in the Carabao Cup, so you guys can form and make your own opinions on his game. But to end with the report, it does mention the fact that we could possibly entertain signing him and then loaning him back to Blackburn. Could that be until the end of the season? Could that be on like a multi-year loan? Who knows? But right now, I know that most of you are probably groaning and rolling your eyes. Leny, another team midfield player. Aren't we stacked right now? We've just seen Caicedo and Andre Santos record back. And like, will they even get substantial minutes before the season ends? We don't know right now. Is this the best possible use of our money? And listen, I kind of agree with that sentiment. I think to myself as well too, sometimes, you know, don't we have players in the academy that can fulfill that type of role? Because here's how I see things, yeah? Imagine if a club like Blackburn had a player like Lewis Hall in their ranks. You'd imagine that Lewis Hall would be playing first team football already now for the past like year or 2 years, right? Imagine if they had access to the type of talents that we produce in our academy. These guys would be playing from 17 years old. So what makes Wharton necessarily better than what we currently have right now? I can't really tell you that, but I don't want to be too cynical. I want to be fair on this young guy because he does look like a talent. And you know what? In my opinion, I just get these shades of Camavinga in his game. Maybe it's because he's a left-footed midfield player and that's throwing me off, but there's something a bit like elegant about him. He's kind of gliding across the field. He has that like Enzo Fernandez sweep tackle in his game as well too, which allows you to have like a bigger surface area to win back tackles. He moves across the pitch very well. But most importantly, he's able to play in the opposition half. He's accurate with his passing. He can play balls over the top. And he has that little Camavinga like ding pass in his game, which I like. I'm not saying he's the same as Camavinga, but I'm saying there's a bit of a stylistic similarity that I'm kind of noticing right now. Currently, he's had like 26 appearances this season, 22 starts, 5 goal contributions, and he plays with that sense of maturity. He screens his defense well. You know, he wins his duels, he engages very well across the field. Let's see what happens, but I'm at a point right now where it's like, you know, what possible development pathway could we provide and offer to the player? Because it's just like, if you're a player interested in signing for us and there's like 5 other guys your age at the club right now, what chances do you really have? And it's like, okay, if the game plan isn't even to become like a first team player for us, can we guarantee that we're set to earn a return on this investment? Let's say if we buy him for 25 million and then loan him out to multiple clubs and then maybe sell him in the future. Again, I think it's easier said on paper because in reality, the loan market is just not as straightforward as we've experienced and known as Chelsea fans ourselves. So that is the Adam Wharton news out the way. Share your thoughts on this, my friends. Anyway, let's move on to another exciting story. A nice little quick update around Victor Osimhen because it was confirmed yesterday by respected Belgian reporter in Sacha Tavlieri as he confirms that Victor Osimhen has decided that he wants to sign for us for next season. And I think for me, this makes me feel a lot more relaxed right now. And it makes me feel excited. I mean, how can it not? Yeah, we've been struggling to sign like a top class striker for a long time. And I feel like Osimhen's in like a particular bracket of striker that we need right now, where this is a guy that is ready to enter his prime years. And listen, Osimhen has a great all-round game, but he has a game that can also continue to grow and evolve and improve. And the fact that Osimhen has decided to commit his future to us based on what Sasha has to say in his reports, I mean, yeah, I think we're back next season, my guys. Obviously, with the joint charm offensive of your John Obi Mikel's, we're seeing Didier Drogba is like partially mentoring his protege at the AFCON currently, and they understand the type of player that is needed at this club right now. And I think Victor's actually displaying with his performances in this year's AFCON what he has to offer. Now listen, in terms of the stats, 1 goal, 1 assist and 4 appearances is not amazing, but with Osimhen, it's not about just his goal scoring exploits. It's what he does off the ball. It's what he does for his team. It's how he's galvanizing his team. It's how he's leading from the front. It's how he supports his teammates. It's how he brings his teammates into the game. Yeah, you see these shades of Didier Drogba, where even if Drogba didn't score a goal in a game, he still had an impact in that game. Yeah, it was still felt. He was still helping his teammates with his defending of the ball, playing them in, or offering an outlet for the team. And I think Osimhen has this type of DNA in his game. And for me, the exciting thing is, now that we have a confirmation, all we have to do now is find a way to activate the release clause. And hopefully, if that's all it takes right now, it means that we'll finally have a big name guy who's able to join up first day of preseason in preparation. Because again, I hate that we sign so many players who don't get preseason to work with us, and that always kind of slows down our season. So anyway, again, it seems like Osimhen's about to be our guy, and I'm going to be releasing a lot of videos on Osimhen in February, so stay tuned on BlueLionsTV. But my friends here, continue to stay tuned to the final 2 big reports, and we're going to turn our attentions now to Ligue 1, because as confirmed by many media outlets and journalists like Graham Bailey, recently we had sent scouts in attendance for Montpellier vs Lille, and we had 3 players we were following. One was Aiko Adams, who's a Nigerian striker who plays for Montpellier. He kind of completed the Norwegian League, 15 goals, 15 games. This season in Ligue 1, 7 goals and 19 appearances. He's showing that he's a guy that can lead from the front. But there were 2 other players we were following. One was Jonathan David of Lille, and the other one was young French centre-back WONDERKID in Leny Yoro. And I'm going to focus on the reports around Leny Yoro first. Why? Because Leny Yoro was the main player scouts were focusing on. And I think that's for good reason. I think he's recently turned 18 years old. He's been playing, football week in, week out since he was 17. And currently he's one of the best young team defenders in Europe right now. And that's for incredible reasons, because he is so complete. He is so mature. And, even Thierry Henry is saying what an extraordinary talent he is. And Henry, he's not quick to hype up these young guys. Like, he's not going to hype them up unless he really feels they deserve that. So let me talk to you guys about Leny Yoro. Now, as we know, it seems quite obvious that this is set to be Thiago Silva's final season. And as we've known for an even longer time, we want to sign another centre-back in 2024. With Diomande being one of the #1 targets we're looking towards, but with his release clause being very pricey, it's only natural that a club like us will continue, of course, to cast our nets wide to try and find and unearth some huge talents. And unsurprisingly, Leny Yoro fits this new model we're hoping to build, young, exciting, top-class potential youth talents that also have that ability to perform right now. And I think that's for good reason. And you know what? I'm going to say this, but I kind of feel like Leny Yoro, he's giving me Thiago Silva's successor vibes, because he's one of those defenders that prefers to maybe cover for his teammates. And I think that's the type of profile we need, because that's what Thiago Silva currently provides for the team. Right now, we have tons of defenders that want to engage higher up, that can leave their lines to help be proactive in that sense. But we need to have that balance of defenders that can cover and protect the last lines. And that's what Yoro can do, because this guy's mental maturity and his focus is top. And it reminds me of like that Christensen type of focus of, okay, how's my body orientation? Am I closing off angles so I'm not going to get cut inside or beaten outside? Am I facing up against my striker? Well, he's constantly thinking and he's trying to stay ahead of his opponents in game. And I think to show this skill so young, it's not that easy. It's not that easy at all, especially when your body is still developing. He hasn't peaked right now, but the fact that he has this quality in his game from such a young age is a big thing. Obviously, speaking about his physicality, of course, his body still has to grow and adapt. He hasn't finished growing yet, and I guess it's unsurprisingly that maybe his aerial game, even though it's good, it can definitely improve, and there's tons of areas for improvement in that game, but I think that will naturally come when he's bulked out and got a bit bigger. But outside of that, my friends, this is a guy that is very comfortable playing with the ball. For Lille, actually, he's the guy that actually plays the switch balls. He's a player that will play the medium pass, the long range passes. That's a responsibility that he has out from the back. And again, it's kind of similar to Thiago Silva having to, reenact the same roles playing for our football club. The fact that he plays with so much responsibility from a young age, the fact that he is consistently performing already, the fact that he's rising to the challenges of, life in a very physical league. Ligue 1 is a physical league, yeah. It's not a pony league. I feel like he would naturally be a very exciting prospect. And, imagine a Thiago Silva that is maybe taller, has more acceleration, more recovery pace. That becomes a dangerous player for the future. But I gotta keep things a bit real. I need to provide some perspective. Would he be as excited to sign for us knowing that Badiashile, Fofana, Disasi, French defenders who are hoping to be #1 internationals, would he be happy signing for us and fighting it out with all these man for his international future? I don't know. And I think it's going to be hard to secure him, because I think every serious club in the world will be after this guy. And I think that, if we're really serious, we have to provide a better pathway, because in my opinion, I even think, adding another centre-back if Silva leaves kind of feels like overkill a little bit, especially if you're talking about signing another left-back too. So they're my thoughts on Leny Yoro. Share your thoughts and opinions, my friends. And now we end things with the final story by discussing the latest reports surrounding Jonathan David. Now, it has been reported yesterday that us, Atletico Madrid, Napoli and even Aston Villa have been following the player over a potential move in January or the summer, and that's for good reason, because his value now has dropped. In the summer last year, Lille wanted around 60 million euros, but with his contract expiring in 2025 and with him having like a slow start to the season due to playing a new tactical role at Lille this season, obviously his price now has dropped by 20 million and he is currently available for 40 million euros. Now I think that's definitely a bargain. Last season he scored 24 goals in 37 games. I would say this season, or I actually say in 2024, things seem to look a lot brighter for Jonathan David, because he's been on great goal scoring form since the year started. So it looks like he's about to refine his form again. Interestingly though, Napoli really view him as the successor to Victor Osimhen, and I can't imagine us scuppering anything for Osimhen by signing one of their main replacements for the striker. I find the story quite, not weird, but interesting, because, he's one of those types of players that I think plays best as a shadow striker, where he can do even better if he's playing off of someone. And I think it's no surprise why Aston Villa are showing strong interest, because they currently use a 2-striker system under Unai Emery, and I think he could have a great understanding alongside an Ollie Watkins. Whereas us, on the other hand, I think we need a profile striker that isn't exclusively goods on the ground, that isn't just going to make those runs and behinds. As we've seen, how often do runs get found all the time? It's not always consistent, but I think we need a bit of a different profile, that type of profile that can actually offer more of an aerial threat, that can give us another dimension when it comes to breaking teams down, because we find ourselves in great crossing areas, but we're not taking advantage of these opportunities time and time again. So I don't really see David being the player that this team needs to find another level. Listen, if it was something mad like signing him on loan until the season ends, I would take that, but I don't think committing to spending 40 million euros on a striker that might not have like a long shelf life with us at this point in time is the way to go. I mean, come on, and Nkunku's coming back. Osimhen's going to be our #1 guy next summer. Nicholas Jackson is still a good player that has a lot of room to grow. I don't think we have to overkill the attack right now, because, we got to think to the future. After next season, the season after, guys like Kendrick Paz will be coming back, and don't even get me started on this guy right now. So I don't want to be jeopardizing anyone's long-term future by making these like hasty type of signings for right now. And then, my friends, they are the final stories for today. But to be honest, do not be surprised if I release another video later today, because there are more stories I could have discussed, like the future around Broja, Conor Gallagher, plus a lot more. So stay tuned on BlueLionsTV, leave those notification buttons on, and I might be seeing you guys later on again tonight. So on that note, I'm Leny FC, this is BlueLionsTV. I'll see you guys later. Cool.